before you have people lobbying for the projects, because if you as a city council can't tell the public what you think is important to do, then it's pretty hard to backfill those projects into that. Thank you.
Further public comment? Did you have a question for John?
Can't overlook this opportunity. Name is Al Kraus, Ukiah. And as President-elect Obama says, one president at a time, and you're supposed to be looking at one ordinance at a time, and you're supposed to be valuing these ordinances, and I don't see how you can compare apples and oranges and decide that one ordinance is more valuable than another, except possibly to say, as Mr. Graff says, that those that are more expensive should be cut back. I just want to say that I'm in touch with an underground network of routes. They're all connected. I'm sorry, you're supposed to laugh. I won't throw my shoes. No, seriously speaking, the tree ordinance is of long standing, and I've had the personal experience of seeing some very difficult things happen. I was part of the lawsuit against what was called Marin Ventures that eventually brought Walgreens into town, and the so-called little mini forest that we had there suffered, and as a result of our lawsuit, we saved 2 trees, and the relief organization received a chunk of money as part of that settlement. I think now enough time has gone by that that can be revealed as a piece of information. And I think that you have a committee, it's already been pointed out, you have a committee of people volunteering. They've already got a lot of momentum. They're ready to go with a lot of positive suggestions that will not necessarily cost the city money. And as far as the language of animals is concerned, we have a lot of linguistic, semantic problems in our society. You know, marriage is one, and I think that language can serve a very educational purpose. I think it has a possibility of moving people forward in the way they think. Personally, I would prefer companion to guardian. I have a companion, and I haven't lobbied yet for the right to marry this companion because this companion cannot make free choice. So, in any event, the companion is my dog. Yeah. And so I would support educational projects, anything that brings forward public consciousness, whether it's about trees, animals, and I think someone else made that point too, about returning to nature. End of my talk. I didn't turn this over, but I'm sure I'm under 3 minutes.
You are.
Yeah, good.
Further public comment? Seeing none. Last call. This topic is back to the council for discussion. Is there council discussion? Councilmember Roden.
Well, I'll start. There are a lot of possible ordinances here, possible issues that this council can address, and I thought that maybe we could decide what to do with each of them tonight, but because of the lateness of the hour, I don't think we should try to do that right now, except for one, which is the tree committee. I mean, that we not propose a tree commission, but a tree committee that meets informally without any staff, that could have a council member or two, and that they do just what Ms. Scobie was saying, and provide the city with recommendations about tree maintenance and enforcement of our laws that are on the books. Also, I was thinking, and this relates to your education comment, I think the city could host, maybe donate use of the conference center, and maybe pay for an expert, an arborist or something, and but the committee could organize a conference, on tree maintenance, and we could invite all contractors that work with the city to maintain the trees, cut back trees, and city staff that works with trees, and we could invite, staff from other cities, Willits and Fort Bragg too, to come, and it could just sort of be a mini convention. And it could be organized by this committee, and we could donate, facility to house that. So anyway, with the exception of that tree committee, the rest requires some discussion, I think. They're controversial, or they have elements that are controversial, and they're complicated. And so maybe two of us could just get together and try to synthesize what we've heard tonight, bring it back to the council just to report back, but then wait until the budget, discussions in the spring, to decide which ones we want to address in the following year. That's my suggestion for how to deal with the situation currently.
Councilmember Thomas.
I agree with Ms. Roden's suggestion vis-a-vis a tree committee. I would be very happy to meet with that group and be a part of that discussion. But maybe others would want to do that as well, and we're limited too. More broadly, I'd like to propose a workshop involving staff and council and members of the public who would like to participate. That would be a discussion of priorities, because I think what we have not heard tonight is staff's perception of what what ordinances and what each of these ordinances would mean to the city and to the staff. And probably the city attorney should be a piece of that discussion too. But I think that informal, non-action oriented format of a workshop would be very beneficial.
Councilmember Crane.
Hopefully, before we go down that path, we have another session of strategic planning with this body and with staff to get a better understanding of how far we've progressed on that journey, so that we have a better understanding of what our resources are to devote towards these additional tasks. And we consider what are our A's, what are our B's, and what are our C's. Because points that were made tonight, Mr. Graff's points I thought were very good. Several other people touched on similar points. We have limited resources, both staff time and money, and time here for sorting through the things that we need to be doing that are our core, that we haven't got our arms around yet. We as a council approved quite a few years ago the purchase of a machine for exercising valves. We have an obligation to have a program in place to annually exercise those valves. Years have passed, we still don't have that in place. It's being worked on, but we aren't there yet. There are many other issues of that sort of import that we need to have a better understanding of how we're going to get those basics in place. And some may view some of these items as dessert, some may think of them as vegetables, but we have obligations we have to meet first before we can add more things to the plate. That's my concern.
City Manager Chambers.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to remind the council, and since we have so many different processes, it's easy to get lost in some of them, but we are exactly going to do the budget process by a prioritization, on a prioritization basis. So we will have that opportunity as we go through the budget. That's how the council has directed me to approach the 09-10 budget. And staff is at work right now laying the basis for which we can come to the council and spell out for you a lot of activities